Hey gamers, today we're going to look at passing through Petra. Let's check it out. To set up the game, what you're going to do is put in these little canyons here, which are kind of easy to put in, but they are kind of wobbly, especially on a flat surface here. Then you're going to grab tiles out of this nice, beautiful bag and place them all down the row here. Each player is going to get their own player board. They're going to randomly draw 6 tiles for their bottom row. The rule is they can't have more than 3 of a kind on the bottom row. And then they're going to randomly draw 4 tiles for their top merchants here, and they'll just place it over that exact color merchant. And the rule here is they can't have more than 2 of the same merchant. So if I had a third orange when I pulled out of the bag, maybe this one was an orange, I would have had to replace it and redraw because I can't have more than 2 here or more than 3 of a kind down here. They're going to have their little cubes placed along this row. They're going to have their little workers here, their assistants here. First player is going to start with 1 camel token, second player with 2 camel tokens, third player 3 camel tokens, so on and so forth. You're going to have all these little discs here that are going to be face down from the cube side, face down, and they're going to be covering this X here. As you see, I have one on each X there. Plus, their main merchant here will be in the center square of this little area here as well. And you have 2 decks of cards. You have this nice little divider here. Basically, it's just for looks. You really don't need it, but they just put it there for looks. Basically, you're shuffling both of these decks and dealing out 3 cards here in the areas, outlined areas that you see on the board. This is just for looks. You can probably remove it. It'd probably be easier than trying to grab things behind a divider. That just serves no purpose but to look really nice. In this game, you have 4 actions you can take: the plaza, the seek, the market, and the village. Now, to take an action, your merchant must move in that direction. So for instance, if I took a move this way, I would take a plaza action. If I moved up this way, I would take a village action because I'm moving toward the village. If I moved this way, I would take a market action because I'm moving to the market. Of course, if I move down, I'd be taking a seek action because I am moving toward that area. So for instance, if I was here, I could no longer take another plaza action because I can no longer move that way. I'd have to take one of the other 3 actions. And if I was down here, I couldn't take a seek or a plaza action, and I can't move catty-cornered either. So I'd have to either take a market or a village action. So what do each of these actions do? Well, this is very simple to remember. Plaza, if I move the plaza, this is the plaza area here. And in the plaza area, I can take 2 of any of these merchants that I want. So let's say I take 1 and 2. Now, what's going to happen is I'm going to, on my own player board, take these 2 tiles and I'm going to push them on the board here, just like so. As you see, 2 of the merchants will drop out, and these 2 merchants will move to the top of my list. So green goes above green, purple goes above purple, and that would be my turn. Now, the missing ones, everything else would slide down. All the other merchants in line would move up closer, and then I'd draw out, and I think I put too many out there, I draw out 2 more from the bag randomly, just like that. So that's how a plaza action would work. Now, to take a seek action, if I was moved down here, then not counting the plaza here, I would have to take one of these, any one I wanted, from the seek. So again, I'm like, which one do I want? Let me take this one. And then, of course, I'd push it down, move this one up to the top of my player board, and shuffle these down, and then replace it with a new one. Just like so. So those are the 2 basic actions there. Now, when it gets crazy is market actions. See, I'm moving over toward the market. To take a market action, I would take one of my 5 little workers here and place it anywhere into any one of these little spots here. Now, I'm going to show you each player board is slightly different, meaning that if you look here, blue activates orange on this player board, but here blue activates green, and here blue activates red. So you have to see, you see each player board is completely different, and I like that as well. The first time I played this game, I didn't realize that. So for instance, I would activate, let me see, what activates red? And my thing, purple, this one activates orange, that one activates green. I'm going to activate this one, purple track. I put one there. So 1 times as many red as I have. 1, 2, 3. So that'd be 1 times 3, which would be 3, which means on the purple track, since I played purple, I would go around 3 spots. So I look for the purple track, it's right here, and I will go 1, 2, 3. Now, you have camel tokens in the game, and there's ways to get more. If I wanted to, I could cash in my camel token to move an extra space. I'm going to do that. So I'll go 3. Now when I get to this little triangle on any of the areas there, I'll flip over my token to reveal there is a cube there. What that means is the next time, if I did this again, I could move up around here and I could plant a cube into one of the open spaces. And so I would take one from my player board and place it there. Once I place a cube, I'd flip this back over, showing that I don't have any more cubes to place until I cross this back over again. Now, there are some chances, especially later on in the game, you could get some big turns where you're moving around this thing like 15 times. Well, yeah, if I was to move around 15 times, I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, turn around, 6, 7. Let's say we're playing a 4-player game. Put that down there. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, flip it over again, 13, 14, and plant another one there. This is a 4-player game, and 15. Now you see, if it's only a 2-player game, you can only use the first slot. If it's a 3-player game, you can only use the first 2 slots. Now eventually these will all fill up, and the only place you can place cubes was where the infinity signs are there, and you can place as many as you want. Now, I should also mention on your player board, because I activated the purple, I must now discard any merchants that are on this area and discard them back to the bag. So, if you notice, there's little icons on each one of these little trackers here, these circles here, and each one of those give you bonuses only once per turn. Meaning, even though on that one turn where we're running on 20 times and I put down 3 cubes, I would not get 3 little bonuses at the bottom. I'd only get 1 per turn. And let me just go over real quick what each bonus does. First off, let's go with purple here. Purple, the first time I pass it on that one turn, once per turn, I can get a yellow merchant. Now these merchants are wild card. They're wild card merchants. And so I'd slide her in, because I got a wild card merchant. And this wild card merchant can count as anything. So you can always count them with any other colors as well. Now, once they are pushed off the board, they are discarded back to the pile. They do not go up here. Over on this edge here gives you a building. These are little buildings here. These little buildings go on your little tracks here, 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 here. You can only get up to 5. Once you put one there, it becomes very significant because let's say I was to push, I got another tile and was to push them all down again. So I pushed this one down and I had orange. Well, I put orange here. Because orange is over a house, that would gain me 1 camel token. So for every trader that comes there that has a house, I'm going to get extra trader camel tokens, which, as you know, can be cashed in later on for additional spaces around any of those tracks. Also, another thing you can get if you pass the blue track is these permanent merchants. Now, if you noticed, I had to get rid of all my purple merchants here, but if I had, and you get to pick which one you want, but you can only have 1 for each row, so you can only have a max of 5. You'll never get 5, by the way. If I had a permanent purple there, then any other purples, let's say I had this purple here, if I had cashed in and done this later, this purple would have gone away. It would have gone actually back to the bag, and this one would have stayed because the permanent will always stay. So basically it's just giving you a +1 in your trader market here. The other one is this one here. It gives you a little bridge token here, and what you'll do is you'll just add this to the side of your player board. Looks kind of cheap, but if it lets you add another merchant to your area, so it makes it even longer and gives you more options to cash them in for bigger points. So the only track that's different than these is the green track. When you go around the green track, there is nowhere to place cubes. But what you're doing is every time you go around here, you're either gathering additional camel tokens or these little Petra cards here. Now you can choose from one of the 3 that are up here, or just draw one randomly from the top. Each player will actually start with one of these at the beginning of the game, but they can get more. And this gives you more options to place cubes on them. For instance, this one says, hey, if you have the equal number of cubes in purple as you do blue, put another cube here. So let's say I had 3 in purple. If I was ever to get 3 in blue, 3 of my brown cubes, they'd equal out, and then I'd be able to place an additional cube. I'd reveal that card and show that I've met the qualifications, and then place that cube there to get rid of another cube, because that's the whole game. You're trying to get rid of these cubes. Other ones, and these are all self-explanatory. This one, if you have 3 of your cubes on the blue track, you would get 1. And they have them for all different color tracks for any of these. This one says, hey, if you have a house, remember those houses here? If you have a house in either the blue or the red, or one of those permanent merchants in one of those, you know, just any mix of these. Doesn't have to be all 4. It can be this and this, or this and this, or this and this, you know, so on and so forth. Then you get another spot where you can place a cube. So these are just extra areas where you can get rid of cubes besides moving around in circles over there. And of course, whenever you take one of these, you'll just replenish it from the stack over here on the board. But that's the green track. That's what the green track does. Gives you more of these, well, camel tokens, of course, and it gives you more of those little Petra cards. Now the last action you can take is the village action. When you move up to the village, this is what's going to remove all these workers from the board. Maybe I had taken a few additional actions, and if I did, I'd have to remove these as well. Put those back in the bag. And it's, you know, I can't take the same action twice, or I can't cash in on the same vendor twice with these people there. So if I take the village action, it will remove all of my little workers from my personal player board and put them back into my little own personal supply. When I do that, depending on whether I removed 1, 2, or 3, I can have my choice. I removed 3 that turn, so I can have my choice of any one of those 3 cards. If I'd only removed 2 workers, I could only choose from this one or this one, and if I removed 1, I would just have to take the first one there. Now these are all neat. They do different things. They're very self-explanatory. If it has a star by it, it means you must use it immediately. This says, hey, take a permanent settlement tile. Hey, so I need to take another settlement there. Oh, I think these were the settlements here. Either way, I'm going to get a permanent one if I do this instantly. Some of them are one-time use only, then you discard. Like he's going to count as a green trader either up here or down here, depending on where I want him to count. And then when that happens, I discard this card. When it has a circle, that means this one's ongoing. My ongoing ability here says when earning a track bonus, and these are the track bonuses there, I may choose from any one of the 4 main tracks. So I don't have to take the one of the track I'm going through. So again, if I was moving through purple and I was going to get a random trader, but I really wanted a wild card trader, if I really wanted another settlement or whatever, I could get that instead. Or an extra spot for traders, I could do that as well. I wouldn't have to take the bonus that's on that circle. So there's little rule breaks here. Now of course when you take one of these, you would replenish it from the deck as well. The game ends when someone gets rid of all of their cubes on their board and they are the winner. Final thoughts, what do I think about the game? Well, I saw this game last year and I picked it up and it came in really late at the end of the year. So I got to play it then and I've been playing a little bit more now and it's really good. It's very interesting. It seems complicated, but the choices are fairly simple. There's a lot of different strategies to take too. For instance, in one of the games we were playing, my little nephew was making these piddly little plays that weren't really helping him out big time. At least I thought not. And I was moving around the track and he had like 5 cubes left or 4 cubes left. I only had 1. I was like, I'm gonna win. And then he cashed in on a big turn where he got to move around like 26 spots or whatever. And he planted all 4. Whatever he took, he cashed in all his camel tokens too. That gave him more spots to move around the board. And he moved around the board and placed every single cube. He timed it out just right for that last turn. And so that told me the game was really balanced. So even though it looks like someone is pulling way ahead, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to win. Not always, at least. So I do like that. Now, the game may actually be a little too simple for some people, in fact, because there are those 4 actions. And I do like how the player boards are always different. So you shuffle around those player boards and the tiles, of course, you're randomly drawing them in a way from a bag, but you get to choose too, and the plaza and the seek what you get. I don't know. I like the gameplay in this. I'm really happy with this game. I see it's been on sale recently, so if you think it's worth your time, go ahead and pick up a copy. I like my copy. I think it's really fun. Also, this is from Renegade Games. I've noticed that recently I've been building up my collection with a lot of games from this publisher. So for me, this is going to be a publisher I'm going to be keeping my eye on in the future. All right, gamers, that's all the time I have for now. Until next time, you know what to do. Game on!